Everybody wants to time the market, buy low, sell high, right? That's the goal at the end of the day. So is now the right time to buy a home in Sarasota, or should you be waiting for the crash that everyone on the news and here on YouTube claims is happening soon? Today, I want to give you some points to consider. I want to talk about both sides, and hopefully by the end of this video, you will have a clearer idea of whether or not now is the right time to buy in Sarasota. Now, if you're new here, my name is Zach Payne, and I'm a local real estate agent right here in Sarasota, Florida. Now, before we get into this video, I do want to preface this by saying that at the end of the day, nobody can really tell you when the right time to buy is. That's a decision for you and your family to make, and you'll know when the right time is. It's different for everybody. For some people, the right time to buy a house was during the peak of COVID, when homes were selling for $10,000 to $15,000 over the asking price. For others, the right time to buy was just a couple months ago, when interest rates were up in the high sevens. Now, are there factors I think you need to consider before buying a house? Yeah, of course, and I'll give a few of them to you now. So if you find yourself answering no to a lot of these questions, well, it might be in your best interest to just wait a little bit. Firstly, do you have a steady income or an income history for at least 2 years? Or one of the greatest things you can have is cash available to purchase a property. These are things that are really gonna help you figure out what your budget is and really if you can afford to buy a house right now or not. Now, if you're worried about timing the market perfectly and getting the house right when the rates drop and home prices are affordable, well, don't think that you're the only one thinking that. I'm talking to people every day who are still looking to buy a house here in Sarasota. A lot of these people are waiting for the same thing, and I tell them all the same thing. Okay, say the rates do drop at some point. Now what? Unless they drop back into the threes, which won't happen, not at least for the foreseeable future, homeowners won't want to sell their houses only to have to buy another one at double the rate that they bought their other home for. Majority of people are only going to be selling their homes if they absolutely need to. So what does this mean for you? It means less inventory and now more competition. Now that the rate is where you want it to be, along with 62% of all the other home buyers waiting on the sidelines who are now rushing to get pre-approved, what do you think is gonna happen when all of these offers come flooding into these homeowners who are looking to sell? They're gonna think they're sitting on gold. They'll either list their home at a really high price or they'll wait for a better offer to come. I saw this during COVID a few years ago. These sellers get so confident in the fact that a better offer is coming their way that they won't even negotiate on anything with you. Another thing that's really important to think about is the situation that you're in right now. Maybe you're looking to move before the start of a school year so your kids don't have to be the new kids in class in the middle of the year. Maybe moving in May, June, or July is the right time for you. Maybe you live somewhere like California or New York and just don't see it to be financially reasonable for you to continue living there any longer or even consider purchasing a home there. In the long run, it might be saving you more money moving sooner than it would be to just sit on the sidelines and continue to watch as home costs increase here in Sarasota. Even if that means taking on a higher mortgage rate, at the end of the day, you can always amortize that if you need. But finally, the most important point I think a lot of people get hung up on is the idea that they will just continue to rent because it's more affordable than buying a house. I mean, you don't have to pay for homeowners insurance or property taxes. If something breaks, the landlord will fix it. I mean, it sounds like a pretty good deal, right? Well, COVID shed a whole new light on the side of renting that I didn't even know was possible until it happened. And it happened so fast, I didn't even know it was here until it was here to stay. Here, let me give you a sneak peek at what it looked like. Landlords began raising rents from maybe $1,200 to $1,600 one year, and then from $1,600 to $2,000 for the same house the next year. So in 2 years, rent cost for the same property went from $1,200 to $2,000 in a year. And that was kind of regular. For some people, it would go up over $1,000 a year. It was just absolutely ridiculous. And there's really not much you can do about it. And for those that were less lucky, their landlords were selling their houses right out from under them, forcing them to move and find somewhere else to live. The idea of not knowing if you're going to have a place to stay year after year is something that is so extremely stressful, or having to worry if the landlord is going to raise your rent another $200 to $400 a month. So others are worried about buying a home and then the market crashing, leaving them with a less valuable home. And this is a valid concern. I look at it this way. Firstly, you're always going to need somewhere to live. And secondly, you need to rest assured that Sarasota's housing market is not going to be crashing. And if it does, you can come back on my channel right here to this video and write a really mean, nasty comment. It will likely never go back down to where it was. I don't care what the news or anyone else has to say about it. Sarasota has a completely different real estate market than most others. Sarasota's demographic is quickly becoming so broad that not just one type of person is looking at buying homes here anymore. This is changing from the mainly retirees it used to be maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Now I'm seeing younger families look to raise their kids in one of the best school districts in the state. Professionals who can work remotely and want a nice tropical lifestyle. And of course, the largest demographic of them all, the retirees. They're not going anywhere. Retirees who either want to live down here full-time or part-time. Of course, these retirees could maintain Sarasota's real estate market completely on their own without the help of the other demographics I just mentioned earlier. But if you do throw in those demographics that I mentioned, then you've got yourself a really strong case for high property values for the coming future, 10, 15, 20 years from now. I think something that's really important to realize is that all real estate markets are local, which means that not every single one of them is the same. When some markets are rising, some might be falling, and vice versa. Sarasota is one of those. I spoke with a couple just yesterday who said that they've been hoping to move to Sarasota since early 2020 and have been watching and waiting ever since. What they had been watching was the real estate prices continue to grow year after year, with properties still selling really quickly. The wife told me that they finally decided to reach out after realizing that the longer that they waited, the more they saw homeownership creeping away from them. I asked them if they could envision seeing themselves living in the home that they're looking to buy for the next 10, 15 years. And when they said yes, I reassured them with data that as long as you're buying for the long haul, you're less likely to lose money, especially in Sarasota, than if you were looking to own for just a short period of time. Now, if you're somebody who's decided that Sarasota is right for you and now is the right time for you to buy, then reach out to me by clicking the link in the description to schedule a call. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.